YouTube. It's Nia Tate. I'm here to do the review for The Shy Season 8, Episode 4. It seems like so much has been going on. It's like, dang, we just on Episode 4. So we start off where we ended last episode with Tiff and Nook in the bathtub. And he had just told her that he loved her, and she did not say anything. And so he's like, when a man tell you he love you, you're supposed to repeat it back. And she's like, I'm not built like that. He said, what you mean? She said, I have to mean it. He said, oh, so you don't love me? And she didn't answer him. So gets out of the tub and leaves. Um, Next we see Reg is sitting in his truck with the other guy, one of his guys the one that don't like Bakari. He's sitting and he just watching Bakari move them pills. You know, he say so. He said you a traitor because he used to work for Nook. And so he said I don't trust him, and Reg said I do. So I don't know why they all take up. I know why they take up a liking to Bakari because Bakari is tough. He really is. He bowed it, and they could see that in him. Birds of a feather, I guess. But so then we see Bakari doing exactly what I did not want him to do and what I said he was probably gonna do last episode. He moving the pills through the chicken shack, through the chicken restaurant. He bringing the meals to the table and sliding the pack of pills under the napkin. The people come and pick up their order. He putting it in the thing, and then we see even Papa busting pills off of Bakari. I feel like Papa something gonna happen to Papa. Um, Self-induced. Just put it like that. Cause I don't know. He's because even Bakari, I mean he sold him to, but he's like, man, you doing pills now? He's like, yeah, weed not getting it, or weed not. I'm tired of weed or something like that. So then we see Keisha and Emmett, the social worker, has come over to talk to them. And so we see a little snippet of that. And then later on, we see Keisha talking to Riley, who is Emmett's dad's girlfriend. And she was telling her, that's Tasha Mack, y'all. I finally learned her name, Riley. Um, Keisha was asking her, what do you think about a woman asking a man to marry her? And, she was like, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. It's a new day. If that's what makes you happy. She said, I don't judge people. Um, so that makes you happy. And then in the meantime, Emmett was downstairs talking to his daddy, and he was telling him that he think he's ready to propose to Keisha again. So the daddy's like, oh, you got the ring? You got, like, okay, when you gonna do it? And he said, I just said I was thinking about it. I ain't say I was, ready to do it. And he said, his dad said, man, what you waiting on? Emmett, Emmett don't want to get married. I don't know what's crazy. I wouldn't, if I was Keisha, I wouldn't ask him to marry me. Come on, Emmett. Uh-uh. I, I don't know what's gonna happen with them two. So we have a scene where we see the three little boys that Riley um, does the group with. And I guess what they're trying to do is show like the next generation, because they remind me of Jake and Papa, and I forgot the other little boy name when they first got on the show because they real young, kind of young like they were. And so we learned that one of them, the little heavy one, is actually Rashad Attorney. That's her little boy. That she came to pick him up at school. And then of course the other one is Emmett's son, and then the other little boy is the little gangster that run around, the little drug dealer that run around with Reg. Uh, is he the one that run around with Reg? Oh, yeah, I think that's the one. Anyway, he a drug dealer. He either work for Reg or Nook. I can't remember which one. I think it's Red. It's Red, yeah, because the other one worked for Nook. So they at school trying to talk to girls and cutting up and stuff, kind of like Papa and them used to do. So I guess that's the purpose of them being in the show, to kind of show that life go on, and you know. So then we see a scene with uh, the men there all at the barber shop. They have in their um, they're meeting the safe space, like the women had theirs last week, so they're having it at the barber shop. And they don't talk about much. Rashad was sharing, you know, because Emmy Daddy said, I can't believe y'all touched the body. And he said, Rashad said, it wasn't just a body, it was somebody I love, you know. And so they were all saying, man, that has to be traumatized, and we're sorry about that. And so Trey just said, well, it's over with. I'm just happy that, we out and be able to move on. And so they asked Bakari, Rashad asked Bakari if he was really done with Reg, if he wasn't working, since he's working at the and he said, yeah, I'm done. He said, I want you to be, I want you out the street. But what he didn't tell him is he working for they don't know he working for Reg yet. So uh they don't know that. And so, but when they asked him, they asked Bakari if he was done working for Nook, Papa turned around and looked at him because he was like, I just bought some pills from from him. So, what else did they talk about at the meeting? I think that's pretty much it. Uh, mm, I think that's pretty much it. That was the highlights of it. And so when they got home, Papa asked him, he said, man, where you got them pills from? Whose pills did you sell me? So Jake was there. Jake said, man, you buying pills? Everybody was like, damn, Papa, you didn't even used to drink. You ain't drink, you ain't do nothing. You done went from drinking to weed to pills. Oh, just so sad. What happened to his mama? Did she leave? Oh, she passed away too. I don't remember. But he just by himself in the world. Um, well, he got that little girl, the pastor daughter, but I don't know. He don't seem to confide in her. But so that's what he told him. He said, that was Reg. I'm selling for Reg. And it's like, man, what you and Jake said, man, you selling for my brother? He said, I ain't had no choice. He didn't have a choice. He just, he want that fast money. So Jake said, all right, now don't get yourself killed because you Reg is a dirty somebody. So I think it was Papa. Um, maybe it was Bakari. Papa. One of them said, "Have y'all ever thought of leaving the shy? Have y'all ever thought about living somewhere else?" And Jake was like, "Nah, man, I ain't. I'm never leaving the shy." And Papa was like, man, there have to be more to life than this. And the car said, yeah, I would hope so, But it's sad that sometimes people aren't like, they never want to leave. Kevin, that's the other boy name. That was Kevin, their friend. They don't even mention him. Are we going to get a scene with him? They got to bring Kevin back, at least for one scene. Maybe he gonna come back for Eminem and Wedding. That would be cool because I mean he was the show. Y'all know Kevin when they first started. That's Keisha Bonner. So um next up we see a scene with Jabari's well no that's we at the house with Reg. Reg is over there with his degenerates and the guy that don't like Bakari, I don't know his name. He started messing with the girl that's there, and she about to blow him away. She pulled a gun on him because he was talking real reckless to her. He always messing with somebody, and so Red say, "Put the gun down because if you kill him, then I'm gonna have to kill you, and I don't feel like killing nobody today." So we found out that the girl that worked for Reg, she know Bakari's sister. And so they had met up out for a couple of drinks and stuff. And she told her, she said, you know, your brother's selling for Reg. And she said, what? She said, really? She said, yeah. She said, we need to talk to him before he get himself hurt. And she said, I will. So she kind of pulled her coat on that. Then we see Tiff is having a party at her rest at her establishment. Um, and well, before they was having like a meeting a couple of days before or something, and Jake was over there. Tiff was trying out some new strains. Some I forgot the name of it. Pineapple, peach puss, I think was the name of it. So Jay said, I want to try it. So they say, this grown folks stuff. He's like, I am grown. So they let him try it. So he said, can I invite my boys to the party? She said, oh, no, I can't have that in here, Tiffany. He said, well, what about my girl? She said, sis, well, you got a girl. He said, oh, she helping me on social media. She said, well, all right, you can invite her. So the night of the party, he's there, and Emmett and them is catering it. So they got Bakari is working. You know, he waiting tables and stuff. And so everybody at Tiff party, well not everybody, but Keisha and Annie go, they there. And so they have a brief conversation, Keisha and Tiff, and she said, hey, what's going on? You know, Keisha's so sweet. And so Tiff said, you really want to know? She said, yeah. She said, Nook told me he loved me. And she said, what? She said, what did you say? And Tiff said, are you sure you want to know? You know, I know me and you got around Emmett, but, you know, now since I'm dating Nook. And Keisha was like, I don't want him. Basically, she was like, he's my child's father. That's it. So she said, why you didn't say that? And she said, because I have to mean it. And she said, well, did he get mad? She said, he left and I ain't seen him since. So then Keisha shares with her that she's thinking about proposing to Emmett. And Tiff is like, no, he needs to propose to you. She said, but he did. And then I told him no. And I think that now he's, you know, I like I scared him away. I traumatized. I don't know if he's gonna ask again. And Tiff was still like, girl, you need to wait for him to ask you. And Tiff said something to the effect of, you know, when he think he's gonna leave, that's when he asks you to marry. And she's like, she said something, and Tiff said, girl, he's all yours. And Tiff kind of looked at him like, as if to say, girl, you can have him, he all yours. And Tiff kind of looked at her funny, like, what you mean? I mean, what you mean? I can have it. I know. He's mine. But we all know, I think deep down inside, Emmett still have a special place in his heart for Tiff. He do. And I think, you know, she's so wishy-washy. I think if the time was right and under the right circumstances, they would get together because they still have some feelings for each other. But you know, it wouldn't be intentional. So her and Tiff and Keisha, they toasted and they said, "We don't never let a man come between us." So I don't know if there's some foreshadowing. I don't know, but I still believe that it like Tiff and vice versa. So anyway, the party going along real nice. Everybody getting along. Lene is there. Well, before that, Bakari had she had went Lene had went by the chicken restaurant by Smokies for Bakari, and the manager told her, and she said, Bakari told me he's working today. She said, well, Bakari lied to you. He ain't been here today. So she said, I tried to talk to him the other day and tell him about the street life. And then they said, I've been talking to him about it. She said, it's hard to leave sometime, but I hope he listen. So then when she get home, when he come home, she said, I went by Smokies today. He said, oh, you checking up on me? And she said, I shouldn't have to. You would lie to me. And so they have words, one thing led to another. And he got smart with her. She said, you be talking all that noise, and then when we break up, you come cry, you be crying back for me. And he said, ain't nobody crying over you. And she stood there for a minute and she thought about it. She said, "Get out." Oh, that's right. Are we talking to be crazy? You ain't even got nowhere to live. She said, "Get out." But Bakar he been salty ever since she told, and I get it. Ever since she told Tiff about, what was going on. So I forgot the girl's name. The pastor's daughter. Um, Later on, we see Nook walk in, and the neighbor is sitting at the bar with the pastor's daughter, and Nook look at her on the side. He don't like Renee because he knows she know, and so he kind of look at her, and then they both like, "We can't stand. I can't stand him." And so the girl, somebody, she said, "Yeah, I can't stand him either." And she said, "You know what he did." And then they say, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, "I know Bakari told you." And she said, "No, I can't say he did. I don't know what you're about." I said, "Oh, now you want to be quiet. Not but you couldn't wait to open your mouth up, but you thought it was a safe space. At least you'd have learned, Nene." So she kept saying, "I don't know what you mean." So she said, she whispered to her, she said, "You know he killed I don't know if she told her right then and there who he killed. She said, "You know he's a killer, right?" And she said, "Well, I told Tiff, and she still laid up with him. So I need some proof." And she said, "You know what? I happen to have some proof." So she said, "But not here. I'll show it to you when we leave." So then Nook notices that Bakari is in there and he's serving. And what he see there for? He snatching the Bakari up and slamming him against the wall and telling him he needs to get out of there because I thought I fired you or whatever. I'm like, this Tiff place. This not your place. So Tiff was like, stop it, not here." And so Nook was like, "I want him out of here. He a snitch. I want him out of here." So Tiff told him, she said, "You gotta go." So Bakari was like, I felt so bad for Bakari. Bakari was like, you gonna take his word, you gonna take his word over me? You gonna take his side over me? Like a little boy, like a little kid. And she said, "Yes." So he said, "Well, F both of y'all." And he walked out. And then before he walked out, he said, "You know everybody," he told Nick, "You know everybody gonna find out what you did." And Bakar and Nook just kind of looked, and Tiff kind of looked at him like, oh. So then we see a scene with poor Bakari ain't got nowhere to go. So I thought Jake was gonna let him come stay with him. I don't know where is Jake staying at the house. I don't know, but he over there with Reg. He had to go stay with Reg because he ain't got nowhere to stay. That mouth and got him fired from the May house, so he went over there with Reg. So of course that the dude that don't like him, he over there and he messing with him. Reg told Bakari to go to the store for him, and the guy was like, "Yeah, get me something too." And he's like, "Man, I ain't giving you nothing." And so they start having words, and they both jump up. And so the girl, she was like, "Y'all don't fight, y'all stop it." And Reg said, "Nah, let them fight." This Negro here, let him fight, let him fight. And Red's sitting there, and Bakari and the dude, man, Bakari messed that dude up. He beat the living daylights out of him. Bakari's a fighter, and he got a lot of pent up anger in him anyway. And he beat so now that guy, I'm sure he gonna. I just feel like I felt I was nervous the whole episode because I feel like Bakari ending is near. His sister came talk to him, and she told him that she was thinking of leaving because she needs to make some more money to do her demo or whatever. And so Bakari told her, "Oh, you just came back to leave me again?" She said, "No, I'm here. I want you to come with me." And he's like, "I'm not leaving Chicago." She said, "Why not? It's we could make it together, if you come with me." And he's like, "Nah, Chicago's my home. I'm not leaving here." She said, "Just think about it." So I don't know. The fact that Bakar made it out this episode, I am, I hope he don't. It's not looking good for him because messing around with Reg, because he sold that stuff, those pills for Reg real quick, and Reg gave him some more stuff, and he gave him an advance, and he told him, "You gonna owe me back that money." So I don't know. I feel like he gonna really get in some trouble. But anyway, the end of the episode, the preacher's daughter was at Lene house and she pulled out. You remember y'all remember she used to go with this guy that got killed. This little he used to work. I think he used to work for Nook. He used to work for one of them. Yeah, he used to work for Nook. That's what it was. And her daddy didn't want him with her with that guy. He was a real street dude. And she's a little preacher's daughter. Well, he left her a tape, a recording. He said, "This is a recording in case you ever need it," because he knew that somebody was gonna kill him because of the lifestyle he was leading. And on that recording, he said Nook killed Rob. Plain as day. He said Nook killed Rob. He said, and he killed a lot of other people too. And her and Lene just kind of looked at each other. I'm like, ooh. I'm like, I don't even want it. I don't even want you to bring it to Tiff because she's so crazy. I don't know. I don't know who. Go tell it. Get at the Trig. That's what she needs to do. Maybe they're gonna give it to Trig because Lene pretty smart. Give it to Trig and let him try to figure it out. Um, or let him talk to her, give it to him, and let him give it to her. I don't know because Tim not to be trusted. So we see at the end they was at the house and uh Nook comes in the house and she's like, "What was all that? Why you started all that with Bakari at the party?" And he said he not to be trusted. And she said, "Well, what did he mean when he said we gonna all find out what you did?" And the story went off. That was the end of the episode. So yeah, um, look, your time is coming. Somebody before the mid season, somebody gonna be gone, and I don't know if it's gonna be Nook or Bakari, but or Papa. It might even be Papa. Somebody gonna be gone. So we shall see. It was a pretty good episode. I'll give it a B. Pretty good episode. Um, but anxious to see, what else happens. I kind of want them to move on a little bit, just a little quicker on this Rob situation, so we can, you know, see Nook get his just due. Thank you so much all for listening to my review. I appreciate it, and I will be right back here next week for the review of The Shy. Have a good one. I'm out.